All right, this is Genesis chapter 13, verse 8. And Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee.
See, because Lot was his nephew. Go ahead.
And between my herdsmen and thy herdsmen.
Go ahead.
For we be brethren.
Go ahead.
Is not the whole land before thee questioned? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. Verse 10. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere before YAHAWASHI destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of YAHAWASHI, like the land of Egypt.
So Lot was where? In Sodom. You see? That's what Lot was. You see? Continue to read on.
As thou comest unto Zorah, verse 11. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from another. Verse 12. Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the city of the plain, and pitched his tent toward Sodom.
See? So that's what Lot was. He was there. Right? So Abraham and Lot separated. But when you read what was going on, Abraham was telling him, look, you know, even though it was his nephew, but he was like, look, you know, you get that side, you know what I'm saying? I know you're going, so get them planes. And what it was in the area of Sodom. And that's why Abraham was praying for Lot, you know what I'm saying, to the Heavenly Father to, look, spare Lot. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my nephew, spare him. So Abraham prayed for Lot, because Lot was doing a righteous thing because he wasn't committing the acts that they was committing in Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay? So now give me Deuteronomy 23 and Deuteronomy 23 and start at 2.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 2. It's a bastard.
Yeah, a bastard. Now, when you deal with this word bastard, right? That's 22. When you deal with this word bastard, that's going into a person that's born of incest. Now, when you look at the history of Lot, a wife was turned into a pillar of salt, and his daughters got him drunk to where his daughters slept with him, and with that incest produced Ammon and Moab. Today, Ammon and Moab, Ammon is the Chinese, and Moab is I had it backwards. Moab is the Chinese, and Ammon is the Japanese. So Lot and his daughter produced the Japanese and the Chinese, which are Lot's descendants. Now, when you read the scriptures concerning a bastard going into incest, go ahead.
All right, this is Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 2. A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of YAHAWASHI.
It's over. Lot's descendants out of there. They can't come into the congregation. Even though Lot was Abraham's nephew, they can't come into the congregation. So are they going to be delivered? Hell no. You see? Hell no. Now, if you got Israelites of the seed of Jacob that look like Ammon and Moab, then there's a possibility that they could be Israelites if they believe. But an actual Ammonite and the Moabite, out of there. They incest. Go ahead.
even to even to his 10th generation
The final saying. Go ahead.
shall he not enter into the congregation of Yahawah Shem Yahushua.
Bottom line. So that's it on that. So Ammon and Moab out of there. Even though the Most High delivered Lot from Sodom and Gomorrah, his descendants out of there. All right. So we going back to Second Ezra chapter 7, verse 36.
All right, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 36. Then said I, Abraham, prayed first for the Sodomites.
So you understand that now. It was really for Lot. Okay, go ahead. Because he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, he only got Lot up out of there. Go ahead.
And Moses for the fathers that sinned in the wilderness.
Now let's get Exodus 32. Exodus 32 and 11. Now Moses prayed for the fathers who sinned in the wilderness. Okay? Now, you got to remember, Ezra is bringing all this up because of what the angel was breaking down to him prior. So he's bringing all this up because of what the angel was saying to him prior. That's why I was jumping around concerning them scriptures. When you're born in this earth and brought back, your works do follow you. Okay? Continually. Throughout all generations, they continue to follow you. And when you woke up to this truth, you continue to apply these scriptures, and that's your work coming back, following you all over again, all over again, all over again. But the ones who don't wake up in their past life, they was doing whatever. Okay? But you always had men pray for all Israel. Okay? But that's why Ezra is mentioning all this concerning Abraham and Moses. And even though Abraham prayed for Lot, but he mentioned Moses. So we're gonna read what Moses did. Go ahead.
All right, this is this is Exodus chapter 32, verse 11. And Moses besought Yahawah Shem Yahushua his power, and said, Lord Yahawah Shem
What verse
Yahushua.
is that?
Okay, 11.
Read up the verse. Start at verse.
Verse 11.
Start at verse 7. Watch this, man. Watch this. This verse, and the key is in verse 11. But start at verse 7. Watch this here. Now this Israel coming up out of Egypt. Okay? Go ahead.
All right, this is Exodus chapter 32, verse 7. And Yahawah Shem Yahushua said unto Moses, Go, get thee down. For thy people, which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves.
See? Even though you had Moses there, and he believed in the Heavenly Father, but you had Jacob, after they got delivered out of Egypt, corrupted themselves. You see? Go ahead.
They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them.
Turn aside quickly out of the way. Go ahead.
They have made them a molten calf and have worshipped it.
See? So, they sinning. You see? They going off. Go ahead.
And have sacrificed their unto.
Now, what I would ask the people in the internet world and you brothers, is Moses part of the remnant or he part of the 2/3? The remnant. See that? The remnant. Go ahead. And there's a reason why I said that, because they would say something to us. Y'all believe in the scripture, so y'all supposed to pray for all Israel. Okay? But it's a reason why I'm saying that. And remember that, because we're gonna carry on and I'm gonna show you concerning all that. That's why we're reading these scriptures. Go ahead.
It says, and have sacrificed their unto, and said, These be thy gods, O Israel.
See? They saying that that calf that they made delivered them out of Egypt. They worshiping the calf, man. So the influence of Egypt is still in them. See, after Yahweh showed his power and delivered them out of the influence of Egypt is still in them. Go ahead. So do they believe? Nah. Go ahead.
So these be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. Verse 9. And Yahawah Shem Yahawashi said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them.
So the Most High wanted to get them for building that idol. He wanted to get them. But this is what Moses did. Go ahead.
And that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation.
Go ahead.
Verse 11. And Moses besought Yahawah Shem Yahawashi his power, and said, Lord Yahawah Shem Yahawashi, why doeth thy wrath wax hot against thy people, which thou hast brought forth out of the land of Egypt, with great power and with a mighty hand?
So they building the calf, man. And Moses is talking to the Most High, and Israel built the calf to worship, man. And Moses is talking to the Most High, was like, look, show him mercy. You know what I'm saying? The Most High, like, how to do it.
Right.
How to get him, man. But Moses is praying for him. Go ahead.
So verse 12. Wherefore should the Egyptians speak and say, for mischief did he bring them out, to slay them in the mountains,
See?
and to consume them from the face of the earth?
See?
Question.
So Israel was a hard-headed people. And they believed in the Most High? Nope. Because they were worshiping the calf. But Moses prayed for them. See? Alright. Now let's go back. That's it on that one?
A little bit more.
Go ahead.
To turn from thy fierce wrath, and repent of this evil against thy people.
Okay? So Moses talking to him. Show him mercy. You know? Alright. That's it on that.
Okay.
Alright, so let's jump back to verse 36.
All right, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 36. Then said I, Abraham prayed first for the Sodomites, and Moses for the fathers that sinned in the wilderness.
So we understand what took place in Genesis, and we understand what took place in Exodus, right? Concerning that. Go ahead.
This is verse 37. And Jesus after him for Israel in the time of Achan.
So we're finna go into that. So give me Joshua chapter 7. Joshua chapter 7, which I ain't gonna go into all these, but I'm just showing you he's naming these things of what the men of the Lord did concerning the sinners of the nation of Israel. Okay? They were praying for the 2/3. You see?
Right.
You see? Go ahead.
You said Joshua
Chapter 7. Joshua chapter 7, verse, we just gonna jump around, we're gonna go straight to the point. Okay? Joshua chapter 7, verse 6.
All right, this is Joshua chapter 7, verse 6. And Joshua rent his clothes.
Now, when you read in 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 37, and it says Jesus there, it's talking about Joshua. Okay? So go ahead, bro.
And fell to the earth upon his face before the ark of Yahawah Shem Yahawashi until the eventide.
Yep.
Until the eventide, he and the elders of Israel, and put dust upon their heads.
So that was in the morning, man. Okay? That was, committed act to where the Most High show mercy. Okay? because of the sin that Israel was doing. Okay? Go to verse 7.
All right. It's Joshua chapter 7, verse 7. And Joshua said, at last, O Lord power, wherefore hast thou at all brought this people over Jordan to deliver us into the hands of the Ammonites, to destroy us? Question. Would to the Most High we had been content and dwelt on the other side of Jordan?
Go first to that.
That was 7.
All right, go jump to verse. When you finish verse 7, jump to verse 19.
All right, this is Joshua chapter 7, verse 19. And Joshua said unto Achan,
unto Achan. Now we read about Achan in 2nd Ezra. Okay? The 7th chapter and the 37th verse. Go ahead.
It says, my son, give, I pray thee, glory to YAHAWASHI, power of Israel, and make confession unto him, and tell me now that thou hast done, hide it not from me.
Go ahead.
Verse 20, Achan answered Joshua and said, indeed, I have sinned against YAHAWASHI, power of Israel, and thus have I done. 21, when I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonian garment, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wage of gold of 50 shekels, weight. Then I...
So what it is he wasn't supposed to deal with that. You see? So by him dealing with that, and hiding, taking that garment, which was belonged to the Babylonians, okay? What would that say?
Yeah, sure. Babylonians.
Yeah, belonged to the Babylonians. Belonged to the Babylonians. That was a sin against the Heavenly Father. And Joshua had to pray to the Heavenly Father because of that. So, going back, let's get on that particular verse.
This is more on it.
Go ahead.
It says, then I coveted them and took them, and behold, they are hid in the earth in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. So
it was hid amongst the nation of Israel, but he had sinned. He wasn't supposed to do that. Okay? So going back over there. Okay?
So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 37. And Jesus after him for Israel in the time of Achan.
So when you read that, when you say Jesus, it's talking about Joshua. Okay? Now, all these other names, I'm not going to go into what they did, but I just wanted to show you what me and the Lord were doing concerning the law. Okay? And this is why Ezra is saying that, because prior up, read up in verse 32, 33, 34, 35, that's telling you right there, the angel is telling Ezra, look, the works of what people did gonna follow them. Okay? If they didn't believe, then that's on them. Judgment is set. But if they did believe, then they gonna be rewarded. But you gotta remember, he said that works gonna follow them. So in their past life, if they did their past life, it's gonna follow them to the future when they born into the world again. Okay, go ahead.
All right, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 38.
Concerning if they believe or not. Go ahead.
And Samuel and David for the destruction, and Solomon for them that should come to the sanctuary. And verse 39, and Elias for
which is Elijah. Go ahead.
For those that received grain, and for the dead, that they It says, and for the dead that he might live. Verse 40, and in Ezekiel, okay, man, that's a tongue twister. Ezekiel, for the people in the time of Sennacherib.
So that's talking about Hezekiah during the time of Sennacherib. Okay, go ahead.
And many for many. Even so now, seeing corruption is grown up and wickedness increased. And the righteous have prayed for the ungodly.
See? I'm telling you, the righteous have prayed for the ungodly. Okay? Pray for the 2/3. You see? Go ahead.
It says, wherefore shall it not be so now also?
So he hit him with a question. He said, should we not pray for the 2/3 also now? You see? For you to, I'm saying it like that for you to understand in today's terms.
Right.
Because you had 2/3 back up, and you got the righteous, you had the righteous back up. You got the righteous today, you got 2/3 today. So, shall we not pray for the 2/3 today? Let's see what the angels say. Go ahead.
The verse 42. He answered me and said, this present life is not the end where much glory doeth abide. Therefore have they prayed for the weak.
Yeah, he said, therefore have they prayed for the weak. Okay? He said, this present life, read it again.
It's 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 42. He answered me and said, this present life is not the end where much glory doeth abide.
He said, this present life, the life that they were reading about, is not much glory abide. Because when the glory don't abide, is when YAHAWASHI comes down. The angels and all this glory. Go ahead.
Therefore have they prayed for the weak.
Therefore have they prayed for the weak, the sinner. The one who's going off. Okay? In this case. Okay? Go ahead.
But the day of doom shall be the end of this time.
But the day of doom shall be the end of this time. In other words, you can't pray for it. It's over with. Because it's the day of doom. It's the day of judgment. It's a wrap. Go ahead. Because everything is set. Go ahead.
And the beginning of the immortality for to come. Wherein corruption is past. In
temperance.
Intemperance.
Now, dealing with the word intemperance, is the best way I can explain it based off the definition is like you putting a cap on something. Like, matter of fact, let's look it up. Let's look it up in the etymology online. It's like regular Google. It's like putting a cap on something. It's like restraints. Me remembering. It's like a restraint.
Temperance.
Yeah, I think it's like a restraint.
It says intemperance, early 15th century, lack of restraint.
Yeah. Yup. Yup. That's what you want. That's what you want up out here. It's a restraint. Okay? Alright, so we're going back to the scriptures.
It says 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 44. Intemperance is at its end.
So a restraint is at its end. Okay? Go ahead.
Infidelity.
Infidelity. That's infidelity. That's somebody not being faithful in belief. Okay? Go ahead.
Infidelity is cut off.
So anybody that's not faithful in their belief will be cut off. But this is what the angels is breaking down at the Ezra. Okay? Go ahead.
Righteousness is grown. And truth is sprung up. Then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed, nor to oppress him that has gotten the victory.
Because you got to go back into the history. even though you have believers amongst our people that throughout periods of time, Israel get delivered from their captivity, and they end up going to their captivity again. They get delivered, and then they end up going again. So you got our people that oppress the ones that believe, and you got our people, you got our people that oppress the ones that believe, and also you got other nations that oppress the ones that believe. So throughout the time of our lifespan, we always was in situations like we are today, even though we believe. You see, you always had the 2/3 around, and we went into captivity. You had the other nations around, and they oppressed us. So the believers, it's gonna come a point in time when all that's gonna be taken away to where the believers is not gonna be oppressed no more. You ain't gonna be able to, do them any kind of way no more, because the glory and the YAHAWASHI is gonna come back and get them out of the situation. The believers. Okay, go ahead. Meaning us, the nigga like the name Mark elect out of them, Lord willing be the ultimate elect. Go ahead.
Verse 46. I answered then and said, this is my first and my last saying, that it had been better not to have given the earth unto Adam.
So he's saying it like, man, it was better for Adam not to even be formed or created. Because by Adam listening to Eve, going all the way back, by Adam listening to Eve, being a sucker for love, that made all mankind sin. So when all mankind sin, that's when the judgment began concerning concerning who was going to continue to believe and who wasn't. The judgment was already set through Noah and his son surviving the flood, because through Noah we are the descendants of Adam. Okay, go ahead.
Said, or else when it was given him to have restrained him from sinning.
Yep.
For what profit is it for a man? So like, for what profit is it for men now in this present time to live in heaviness, and after death to look for punishment?
After death to look for punishment, because what it is when you die and you come back, you get judged. When you die, you come back, you get judged. When you die, you come back and get judged. You see? Go ahead.
Verse 48. Or thou Adam, that had done, thou done.
Again.
O thou. Okay. The 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 48. O thou Adam, what hast thou done?
So
Question.
he looking like, you know what I'm saying? When he heard this concerning what happened to Adam, this is me, he like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Oh, Adam, what have thou done? You know what I'm saying? Because he's finding out. Go ahead.
For though it was thou that sinned, thou art not fallen alone.
See? So he's telling you, anybody that came out of Adam didn't fall alone. Everybody failed. You see? Even the Israelites, which is the chosen out of Adam. You see? Everybody failed. Go ahead.
But we all that come of thee. For what profit is it unto us, if there be promised us in immortal time, whereas we have done the works that bring death?
We have done the works that bring death. The works that bring death is sin. See? So continue on.
This is verse 50. And that there is promised us an everlasting hope, whereas ourselves being most wicked are made vain.
Yup, go ahead.
And that there are laid up for us dwellings of wealth, of health and safety, whereas we have lived wickedly.
Yup.
Question.
Okay. Because, like I was saying, until we woke up, We were doing wrong, you know what I'm saying? But the mercies of YAHAWASHI allow us to hear this word again, and then we straighten up and watch our steps. But before then, before we heard this word, we were doing wicked, just like 2/3. But when we heard it, we was like, oh no, hell no, it's time to get right. 2/3 here, they be like, they continue on in the course of their wickedness because their works that they did in their past life is still following them unto this day. And when we heard it, we repented because we had works in our past life. You see, that believed in the Heavenly Father and the Son. You always had 2/3, you always had that remnant. Okay, go ahead.
So verse 52, and that the glory of the Most High is kept to defend them which have led a weary,
Where you at? Where you at?
52.
I'll read it again.
It's 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 52. And that the glory of the Most High is kept to defend them which have led a weary life, whereas we have walked in the Most High's wicked ways of all.
Read it again.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 52. And that the glory of the Most High is kept to defend them which have led a weary life.
The glory of the Most High is mercy. You see? Go ahead.
Whereas we have walked in the most wicked ways of all.
Go ahead.
And that there should be showed a paradise whose fruit endureth forever.
Let's talk about the kingdom. Go ahead.
Wherein is security and medicine, since we shall not enter into it. Question. For we have walked in unpleasant places.
Sin. Go ahead.
And that the faces of them which have used abstinence shall shine above the stars.
So abstinence is going into, you know, you being basically like hesitant on going against the Heavenly Father and the Son. You think about what you doing in your life when it comes to the belief in the Heavenly Father and the Son and His commandments. Okay? Matter of fact, you want to look up the word abstinence. That's why it said, saying, shall shine above the stars, whereas our face shall be blacker than darkness. You know, and we don't deal with the word abstinence.
Abstinence, mid-14th century, forbearance.
Yep.
Forbearance and indulgence.
Indulgence. See, it goes into integrity, self-restraint. That's what you want to deal with. Self-restraint, integrity, abstinence. So, to withheld, keep back. So, living our lives and we see what the world is doing, we keep back and we got restraint from doing what they doing. Because we believe in the word in the Heavenly Father and the Son. So we got restraint. Okay? So that's what abstinence goes into. It's like you watching your step, how you live in your life. Okay? You don't do what the world does. Okay? Go ahead.
It says, I'll read it again.
Yeah.
It's 2nd Ezra chapter 7. Verse 55. And that the faces of them which have used abstinence shall shine above the stars.
See? They kept their restraint and believed shall shine above the stars. Go ahead.
Whereas our faces shall be blacker than darkness. Question.
Go ahead.
For while we live and committed iniquity, we considered not that we should begin to suffer for it after death.
So these people don't think that their past life, when they die and they come back, they don't think that they're going to suffer for what they have done in the past. You see? They don't know. They just living. Because if they knew, they'll be doing what we doing. And they believe, if they believed in the Heavenly Father and His Son, they'll be doing what we doing. So they don't know they're gonna pay for what they did in the past. You see? See how that works? So if you trying to pray for them and the Most High already got the judgment set, how you gonna stop and make a change for what they did in the past? You can't, because it's already set. You can't do it. It's already set. And that's what Evans is finding out, man. He's finding out the judgment is already set, man. You see? Go ahead.
So verse 57. Then answered he me and said, this is the condition of the battle.
This is the condition of the battle, man. You see? For man. All right, you didn't believe in your past life, you ain't gonna believe today. That's the condition of the battle, man. Go ahead.
Which man that is born upon the earth shall fight.
Go ahead.
That if he be overcome, he shall suffer, as thou hast said. But if he get the victory, he shall receive the thing that I say.
The kingdom of heaven. Go ahead.
For this is the life whereof Moses spake unto the people while he lived.
So, what did Moses tell Israel? Let's go to Deuteronomy 30 and 19. Moses told them way back then. You see? Told them. You see? Deuteronomy 30 and 19.
All right, this is Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19.
Start at verse 17, but the key is in verse 19.
All right, this is Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 17. But if thine heart turn away, so that thou wilt not hear, but shalt be drawn away and worship other gods.
He was telling them. And what Israel doing today? They're going to celebrate New Year's. See? That's the idol god. See?
Yep.
Go ahead.
And serve them, I denounce unto you this day that ye shall surely perish.
See? They turn to them idols so they don't perish, man. See? Go ahead.
And that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land.
So how we going to pray for them is judgment already set, man. That's what everyone's finding out. Judgment already set, man. All you can do is pray for the believers, the elect of the nation of Israel. 2/3, you can't pray for them. They out of there. Judgment already set. Go ahead.
Whether thou passest over Jordan to go to possess it.
Go ahead.
Verse 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you.
See? I call heaven and earth to record this day against you. So Moses was telling them. Go ahead.
That I have set before you life and death.
Life and death. All right. You believe in YAHAWASHI and you apply these scriptures, it's life. You don't. When you sin and you go worship other idols, you go worship idols and you live your life contrary to YAHAWASHI, you did. You told them. And when you talk to 2/3 of Israel, you can see it in their eyes that they don't believe, man.
Right.
You can see it in their eyes when you're talking to them. They don't believe.
Right.
They just think you talking.
Yeah. You think you know everything.
You think you know everything. See? See? But it's because of how they was in their past life. That's why they don't believe, man. The angel blinded them constantly, man. When you read Isaiah the 6th chapter, the angel blinded them, man, to where they can't see. And they continue to do what they doing until YAHAWASHI come in his glory, man. You see? No, go ahead.
Blessing and cursing, therefore choose life.
See? Told him. That's it on that?
A little bit more.
Go ahead.
That both thou and thee, that both thou and thy seed may live.
Yeah. So go back. What was it, verse 59?
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 59. For this is the life whereof Moses spake unto the people while he lived, saying, choose thee life, that thou mayest live.
And see, you can't pray for your brother who don't believe, meaning your biological brother. Because see, growing up, you know what I'm saying, in the ancient world, we was taught the ways of us being Israel. But on this side, we weren't taught like that, but the ones who believe our works give followers. Okay? So on this side, if your brother don't believe, it's because he didn't believe back then. I'm talking about your biological brother. I ain't talking about a brother like us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Got different mothers and fathers like that. I'm talking about the biological brother that grew up in the same household as you. If you wake up to this truth and he don't, shit, that's what it is. Separation, man. Your sister don't believe it. It's separation. It is what it is, man. The judgment already set, man. Go ahead.
So 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 60. Nevertheless, they believed not him. It says they believed not him, nor yet the prophets after him.
Talking about Moses and the rest of the prophets. 2/3. See? They didn't believe. Go ahead.
It says no, nor me, which have spoken unto them.
So even Ezra was saying it. You got people around me that don't believe in what I'm saying. Read it again so they can catch it.
All right, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 60. Nevertheless, they believed not him, nor yet the prophets after him. No, nor me, which have spoken unto them.
Go ahead, bro.
That there should not be such heaviness in their destruction, as shall be joy over them that are persuaded to salvation.
Yup, go ahead.
I answered then and said, I know, Lord, that the Most High is called merciful, in that he had mercy upon them which are not yet come into the world.
See? Because Ezra is saying, look, he's talking about the future. The Most High gonna have mercy on them that have not yet come into the world. So that is going to the world. That is going to the world. So the Most High gonna have mercy on the remnant who elect, because what? Their works gonna follow them. You see? Go ahead.
So verse 63. And upon those also that turn to his law.
See? Go ahead.
And that he is patient and long suffereth those that have sinned as his creatures.
See? Go ahead.
And that he is bountiful. And that he is bountiful, for he is ready to give where it needeth.
Yeah, he gonna give the mercy where it needed. You know? And that's only to the elect for the nation of Israel. Go ahead.
Verse 66. And that he is of great mercy, for he multiplieth, he multiplieth more and more mercies to them that are present.
Oh, them that are present. Go ahead.
And that are past.
That are past, present, past, them key. Go ahead.
And also to them which are to come.
Read that from me again.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 66. And that he is of great mercy, for he multiplies more and more mercies to them that are present.
Them that are present. Go ahead.
And that are past.
That are past. Go ahead.
And also to them which are to come.
The future. We in that now. You see? Go ahead.
For if he shall not multiply his mercies, the world would not continue with them that inherit therein.
So the world will not continue with them that inherit therein, because the earth belongs to us. So that's what it is. It was all about the mercy towards the one who believed in him. The remnant out of the nation of Israel, man. Go ahead.
Pardonance? Is that how you pronounce
Yep,
it?
yep.
And he pardoneth, for if he did not, so of his goodness